Something we find works very well for our clients is having a calendar on the website for booking appointments and site visits and so on. Uh, I think there's really four main types of booking you can use it for. Obviously, an initial phone call. So when someone makes an inquiry to arrange a time to have a proper talk to them on the phone about what they're looking for. Rather than always going out to site, video consultations seem to work very well where you can set up a Zoom call with somebody and talk to them for 20, 30 minutes about what they're looking for and get an idea of whether you can help them, whether they're realistic in terms of their budgets and everything else, to save you the time of going out to visit every single site if you're not entirely sure if it's a good one or not. Site visits themselves, having a calendar to book times for site visits. Obviously, that needs to be handled a bit carefully because you could have two in very different locations, one after another, but there's ways around that. And if you have a showroom where people can come and visit you, having a calendar that will let you do that. I've got one or two examples here. So Kneebone Trees, they use calendars for site visits. Now, what we've done for them is to split the areas that they cover into several distinct ones. So, for example, Area 1, Torbay, Tunbridge and Exeter. And people can book an appointment with them based on, they're in those areas. They can book an appointment. So the next date they have available is on the 22nd of October from 7:30 a.m. onwards. What they do is have a day of the week for each location. So they're not rushing around in all different directions. This particular area, Area 1 as they've called it, is only available on Tuesdays to be booked. So by the look of things, the next two Tuesdays are full and then it's free after that. What they also do is to have the booking page hidden from the website. So it's not available through the menu or anywhere. When someone makes an inquiry and they're interested in their services, Kneebone will send out an email with a link to this booking calendar so someone can book it in themselves. So they can say, right, you're in our Area 1, we'll send you a link to that calendar, or you're in Area 2, we'll send you a link to this calendar. So they've got a degree of control over it so people can't just book all over the place. That works well for site visits. Phone calls, the good thing about phone calls is you don't need to worry about location because it's when you're in the office or when you're when you're available at work. So with phone calls, you can really have them booked anytime you like. Depending on whether it's just one person doing the phone calls or there are multiple ones, then you could block off certain days or have all days, all times available. Weekends are quite a good idea to have, maybe at least a morning every 2 or 3 weeks on a Saturday available for phone calls. Weekdays, 1 or 2 evenings does work well as well. But with a booking like that, typically you're looking for someone to book a 10-15 minute initial call so you can talk through what they're looking for and from your point of view establish if they're serious and therefore worth the time and effort of a site visit. One other calendar I've got up here is a showroom calendar. So ALS up in Lincoln have a very good showroom and we promote it quite heavily on their website. So we've got a showroom page here, a video about it and so on, and at the bottom there is a calendar to book a visit to their showroom. Again, it's available on Saturdays as well because they make sure they've got somebody on site on a Saturday morning for showroom visits, and I think they have it late on a Wednesday evening too. But exactly the same thing again. It has the advantage of people coming to you, so you haven't got to worry about the location where they're based, and you can put them in one after another. So those types of calendars work well. I've not shown an example of a video call, but the same kind of thing. You can put video calls in one after another because you can sit there and do them in sequence. Obviously, you need to think about what sorts of calendar booking would work well in your business. There's a few other considerations, whether they are hidden or public. So I've shown you examples of both there. So showroom ones, public. Possibly site visits, physical site visits hidden away, and then you only send someone a link to that if you know that you want to go and see them. Otherwise, the danger is if it's just publicly on your calendar, people could start booking site visits in, and you could be wasting your time going all over the place. Um, Considerations obviously on dates and times available. So if there's only one person doing these bookings, then holidays etc. need to be blocked out. Trying to do some evenings occasionally, weekend occasionally does certainly help. Uh, Obviously, you want to block out any future dates you're not available, so people don't go and book in for that, and then you've got to go back to them and say, "Oh, can we change that?" And the last thing, and in a way, one of the most important, is confirmation and reminder messages. Now, one of the biggest issues we find with our clients is site visits when someone forgets about it and isn't there, particularly when they're booked a week or two ahead. So with calendar bookings, we try and automate it to some degree. So when somebody books an appointment, they get a confirmation email and probably a text message as well to say, we want to confirm your phone call, your site visit, whatever it may be, for next Tuesday at 4 p.m. And there's an internal message to let our client know this visit, this phone call has been booked. And then the customer the day before gets a reminder to let them know it's tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And then they get another reminder an hour before, particularly for phone calls, just to be sure that they are going to be there at 4 o'clock. Because, with all the best will in the world, people will forget these things. What does sound like free time a week from now, suddenly when you get closer and other things are going on, they'll forget them. So rather than risking you being there, making the phone call, making the video call, whatever it may be, and there be no one on the other end, by reminding the day before and then an hour before, we find that it dramatically increases the number that are there. Or if they can't make it, then they reply to say, really sorry, something's come up, can we reschedule it? So at least you're not wasting your time. So there's a few ideas on calendar booking. Things like this, we find they save time. They reduce your wasted time in going around and chasing people up. Anything that can be automated in this business is great, because then you can focus on the important things, such as the actual phone call, the actual site visit, the face-to-face contact, doing the quotations, and then doing the actual work, rather than all the bits and pieces that tend to be difficult because you can't get through to someone on the phone when you're calling them and so on. So I hope that's useful. And any questions, get in touch with us.